Hello, my friends. This is going to be a short course in parasympathetic breathing. Parasympathetic is the rest and digest, it's the decreased heart rate, it is returning to a sense of calm, as opposed to the sympathetic, which is the fight or flight, which prepares us to confront danger, prepares us to increases the stress level in order for us to be more effective in dealing with the stress that has been introduced. Both are vital, both are important. However, these days, we tend to spend more time in the fight or flight. It's that low lying stress. It's not those big stressful events so much that affect us. It's the low lying, the traffic, the crowds, the bumping, the pushing, the shoving, the social media, newspaper headlines. There's a banner. You can't just watch the news. It used to be back in the day, back in my day, you would watch the local news. And just as much good stuff happened, more good stuff would happen. And you would really not be quite as affected as you are now, just spending 20 minutes, half an hour watching cable news, where not only are you given bad news, but you're given bad news by a panel of people, as well as having a banner underneath giving you even more bad news. It's no wonder that we are in that sympathetic state, always in that fight or flight, and that puts us at the ready, meaning that one little thing that we used to shrug off, now we're ready to slug it out. Now we are ready to fight, flight, or both at the same time. So to alleviate that, to bring us back more deeply into the parasympathetic that rests and digests, lowering the heart rate, lowering the blood pressure, producing just the right amount of neurochemicals, serotonin, melatonin, that keep us even keeled. Also, a great way to enter into a meditative state. We can do that by controlling the breath, by utilizing the breath. For a long time, it was thought that it was an autonomous state. Either you needed it's sort of an outer stimuli or stimulus. I don't know which one. An outer. Let's stick with stimuli. An outer stimuli to enter into the either. That maybe you could hype yourself up to get ready to go, but it was much harder to bring you back down. We can do it in as little as 10 breaths. What a great tool to have at our disposal. So, parasympathetic breathing is really simple. It is lengthening the exhalation. Lots of ways of doing that. First, let's think of the sympathetic state. How do we breathe? How do we hold our bodies? Generally speaking, the jaw is tight, the brow is furrowed, shoulders are tense, we might be making fists. We're breathing very shallowly, often through the mouth. Quick demonstration. And we're breathing high up in the chest. We're not deeply breathing from the belly. If we were, we wouldn't be in that state. Mindfulness of breath can easily and gently bring us right back into the parasympathetic state. Just being mindful. Notice, and then we can make some slight changes. Breathing through the nose, switch to nasal breathing. Out. It's almost impossible to hyperventilate from the nose. Not impossible, almost impossible. So, then we start to lengthen the exhalation just a bit. Notice the belly. Start breathing from the belly. Relax. Relax the shoulders. Relax the jaw. Relax the temples. Just quick body scan. I have my hand on my chest, one hand on the belly, for a reason. Doing the easy breath. Easy breath is a great place to start. After you've done that, check in with the breath. Hand on your chest, hand on your belly. Is the belly rising with the inhalation, falling with the exhalation. Haven't really did anything yet. Just noticing the breath, and then I'm making some minor changes. We can do that anytime, anywhere, any situation. However, we can do that, we can make it a practice. Check in with the breath, any odd moment of the day, and then practice that easy breath. Ten times. Now let's do what's called the full yogic breath, 3-part breath. What I want to do is breathe deeply into my belly, into the diaphragm. Then I breathe into the rib cage, expanding from the sides, continuing all the way up into the clavicles. And then exhale, clavicles, rib cage, belly. Now the chest can move. When we're doing the easy breath, chest should remain relatively still. We want to concentrate on that belly breathing, expanding, relaxing, expanding, relaxing. When we do the more powerful, full yogic breath, we are breathing in all the way up. Clavicles, we're using the 3 parts of the lungs, the lower, the middle, the upper. And then we're exhaling from the clavicles, the rib cage, to the belly. All of these can be powerful practices in and of themselves. You can do 10 easy breaths followed by 10 full yogic breaths. Don't worry about the exhalation or the inhalation. Just go breathing deep all the way up, all the way down. Now, that's the foundation of a great breathing practice. Let's introduce the Ujjayi breathing. Ujjayi breathing means victorious breath. It's also called ocean breath because it sounds like the ocean. And it is as if we are fogging up an extra pair of glasses or a bathroom mirror. You know, when you want to fog up that bathroom mirror to write a message, simple ha sound. However, let's do it with mouth shut. Let's inhale with the mouth shut, making the ha sound. A very gentle snore that we are consciously doing. There's a slight constriction of the throat, which we are not consciously doing. It happens on its own when we concentrate on the ha sound. It might actually help you to think ha. In some yoga classes, Ashtanga yoga, where they very consciously, in the movement and with the breath, they have that Ujjayi breathing. However, you'll hear it very loudly. It doesn't have to be loud. You alone need to hear it. You just need to know that you're doing it. This is a very calming, soothing breath. And again, we haven't entered any breathing ratio yet. We're not concerned about the count and the count. We're not concerned with the count of breathing in nor the count of breathing out yet. But we will after we practice Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath. Now, what you can do if you are having trouble sleeping, if you are nervous, if you are suffering anxiety, on the verge of a panic attack, simply enter the Ujjayi breath. It's such an easy breath, but it has the entirety of breathwork practice in what it offers. Lowering the heart rate, lowering the blood pressure, calming the mind, bringing us easily and gently into that parasympathetic state without manipulating the breath yet. We're just making that sound, hum. Aha. Now, let's work with ratios. We got the easy breath, we got the 3-part yogic breath, we have Ujjayi breathing. Ha. In and out. we're going to take a basic breath, breathing in for 4, exhaling for 4. Just going to do it one time. The Ujjayi breath also acts as like a valve. If you have, let's say, water rushing out in a stream, likening it to the breath, you feel that rush. It's hard to count for 4 when air is rushing out. If you put that valve on it, which is the Ujjayi breath, it starts to slow down. Very valuable when we want to increase the ratio of our breathing. So let me do one breath. 4 in, 4 out. Note at the top, there was a pause. Very brief retention of the breath, which is natural. I'm not emphasizing it. Not yet. We will. I'm just noticing it. And then I exhale. If I were to do 2 breaths, you'll notice there is that natural pause on the exhalation itself. Kumbhaka breathing, which means retention. And eventually, we'll add that in as well. And that way, it decreases the amount of breaths that we take per minute, which puts us in a very deep meditative state of mind, fully into the parasympathetic state. If we were to, some yogis can get to the point where they're taking a breath every 90 seconds, a breath every 2 minutes, sometimes extending it even longer. But hey, if we can get to a breath every minute, a breath every 30 seconds, we're doing pretty good. If we can get to the point where we're just doing 4 breaths in a minute, that'll be enough to have profound changes on the central nervous system. We will groove in our responsibility, our ability to be responsive by being in that parasympathetic state. And it tones the vagal nerve, which is what brings us up and allows us to go back down. Very valuable, because sometimes you want to be in that sympathetic state. Sometimes you need to fight or flee. Let's use, for the sake of peace, that we are fighting, I don't know, the IRS in tax season. Something peaceful. Just want to introduce that there. So now to get fully into the parasympathetic state, we're going to extend the exhalation for a count of 8. I'm going to breathe in for 4. Ujjayi breathing, there'll be that natural pause, and I will exhale for a count of 8. If you can't do it for 8, do it for 6. This is a great practice to help you sleep. Very valuable. 10 breaths before bed. 10 breaths when you're in bed, getting ready to sleep, to help you unwind. You don't have to stop at 10. If you need a little more, pause, and then do another 10 breaths, or just continue. A note on counting. It is a count. Doesn't have to be seconds. Just go by your count. Counting for 4, counting for 8. Let's do 2 breaths. Ten breaths, and you are deeply into the parasympathetic state. You have calmed your central nervous system. You are ready to respond, ready to be responsive, ready to relax. It's an important state. Downtime. When we think about downtime, and we might even take steps to get there, that doesn't necessarily mean that we are in the parasympathetic state where we're getting that deep, deep healing that we need from the stressors that the world offers us. That's very basic right there. Breathing in for 4, exhaling for 8. Let's continue that with one thing. When I go to the pranayama mudra, the Vishna mudra, I'm pulling back my index finger, my middle finger. I'm extending the other 2 fingers, putting my thumb out. Or you can just do a thumb. I like doing a mudra. I like the symbolism. I like the channeling. Let's call it cosmic forces. Channeling the energy with the mudra. Turns it into a very meditative state. And I'm just going to gently put my thumb, not pushing, not totally blocking, just serving as a reminder. On my right hand side, the left side of breathing corresponds to the parasympathetic state. So a good way of checking, where am I? What state am I in? Little sniff test. Is it more dominant on one side? This isn't a fail-safe approach, but it's a good rule of thumb. If you are breathing gently and easily, predominantly on the left, then you are in the parasympathetic. If it's predominantly in the right, then you are in the sympathetic. No need to panic if you are in the parasympathetic. If you're out and about and you're doing stuff, you want to be in the parasympathetic. But you want the ability, the responsibility, to switch over into the parasympathetic. Not just as needed, but just naturally and easily to fall into that state. So what I'm going to do, I got the pranayama mudra up, got my hand on my lap. I'm going to breathe in for my count of 4. I'm going to exhale for count of 8. However, when I exhale, I'm going to go through my left. I can block off my right, breathe through my left. And then I inhale with both. Let's do 2 breaths. Ten breaths. So relaxing. Amazingly so. All right. There's other ways. We can use the pranayama mudra. Very lightly grasp the nose. We can do box breathing. We breathe in for 4. I breathe in for 4. I held the breath. Retain the breath on the internal breath for 4. I exhale for 4. I retain the breath. The external hold for 4. Very lightly. The reason, you don't have to. However, there is a scientific explanation of the mammalian dive reflex, where doing that actually triggers that mammalian dive reflex, which puts us in a very profound state of relaxation. I'm not a scientist. I can't explain it. I know it works because you can tell the difference when you do it. So, this is box breathing. Breathe in for 4. Retain the breath. Breathe out for 4. Retain the breath. Breathe in for 4. 10 rounds. Let's just do 2. All right, 2 breaths. Nice and calm though. I like to do it with my eyes closed, and I like to gently focus on the 3rd eye, the 6th chakra. Turns it into, with the mudra, the gestures, with the breath retention, turns it into a meditative experience in and of its own. 10 breaths. Very quick, easy meditation, powerful breath. And rumor has it that this is a breath they teach Navy SEALs to help keep them calm as they are in that stressful state of getting ready to take a shot. The snipers, Navy SEAL snipers. I don't know if that's true or not. It's a nice story. Maybe it is, but it is effective. Again, it lowers the heart rate, lowers blood pressure, enters us very lightly into that alpha brainwave state, a very light state of meditation. Now you can do the same thing, similar, breathing in, starting with the left, retaining, exhaling, breathing in, retaining. That is alternate nostril breathing. Anulom vilom is what it's called in Sanskrit. We'll get into that on a separate breath. I wanted to cover the basics of that parasympathetic. I'm going to use one more breath. Andrew Weil, the doctor, alternative health specialist. He was slightly a member of the Harvard Psychedelic Club with Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert, who became the great yogi Ram Dass. Still putting out great information. He calls this the Serenity breath. You breathe in for 4. You retain the breath for a count of 7. You exhale. He teaches it pursed lips with the tongue right above, touching the upper teeth. Front 2 teeth. Tongue just slightly above. And you do a whoosh for a count of 8. I'm going to demonstrate it once. Beautiful breath to do before bed. 98% of the time in yoga, it is taught we don't breathe through the mouth except for specific occasions. This is one of the specific occasions. Now here's something. Try it 2 ways. I actually prefer doing it with the exhalation through the nose because it puts you more powerfully into the parasympathetic state, which is the name of this video, parasympathetic breathing. So I'm going to breathe in for 4. Retain for 7, exhale for 8. Using that ujjayi breath to help you control the breath. Also tones the vagal nerve. Has tons of benefits on its own, even if you just practice that. So that's a bunch of stuff thrown at you. Practice the easy breathing, practice the yogic breathing, practice the 4x4 breathing, and then pick one of the others to do before bed. See how it works. And leave me a message. Let me know if it helps. If you have questions. I don't have every answer. But hey, we can explore it together. And that'll be fun. Guys, I'll continue with it. There's other breaths as well. Parasympathetic as well as sympathetic that we can do. And we will. But this is for a friend. And I thought it might be a great introduction that they can use. And I thought it would be such a great introduction that maybe other people might find it helpful as well. Thank you for watching.